Good evening. Thank you for joining Your News Arizona. I'm Jonathan Alexander reporting. Tonight, I'd like to talk about what's been going on in this country with the cartels crossing through our borders, the amount of violence that we're witnessing in Portland, Chicago, and around the country. One of the things I'd like to discuss tonight is you take a look at the Democrats and what they're doing with all this rioting around the country, the No More Kings, um, just everything that they are doing has to make one wonder how they can even possibly be defending these illegal aliens around the country that's come through our borders. This has been a war on our soil for quite some time. I can't understand how anybody could possibly want to protect these people. It's just gotten to a point to where our law enforcement are standing down in like Portland, Oregon, even Chicago. I've seen some of the journalists that's been assaulted. One young gentleman named Nick, who goes out and live streams all the time. He's been assaulted now multiple times. This has just been ongoing. I want to share with you from ABC 7 News tonight an article that I found. I'd like to share that with you guys.
Federal agents under siege. Immigration and custom enforcement teams are facing a new threat.
That operation is run by the Sinaloa cartel and fueled by Chinese precursor chemical and pharmaceutical companies.
The United States has just launched the most aggressive counter-narcotics and border security offensive in its modern history. Under direct presidential authorization, American forces have mobilized across multiple theaters to confront the Mexican cartels head-on. The campaign, codenamed Operation Shield Frontier, brings together the DEA, ICE, Homeland Security, the U.S. Marines, Coast Guard interdiction teams, and local tactical units into one synchronized command network. Officials describe it as a total border lockdown, an operation designed to dismantle cartel command chains, seize smuggling routes, and neutralize threats before they reach American soil. Within days of the operation's launch, more than 1,000 arrests were made across Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, along with major seizures of weapons, narcotics, and vehicles. Federal analysts call it the largest combined law enforcement and military strike against transnational crime ever recorded inside U.S. territory. What began as a routine joint enforcement plan has evolved into a full-scale interdiction campaign stretching from the Rio Grande to the Caribbean Sea. Along the southern border, Marines and Border Patrol tactical teams now operate shoulder to shoulder under extreme desert conditions. Temperatures reach 100 degrees as armored patrols wade through the Rio Grande, intercepting small boats and human smuggling rafts moving north under cartel escort. Coast Guard cutters patrol inland waterways, while ICE aviation units hover overhead providing thermal surveillance. Agents describe the new approach as relentless. Every crossing, every trail, every low-flying drone is tracked and logged in real time. The crackdown has disrupted the cartel's traditional rhythm of movement. Long-used smuggling trails through Eagle Pass, Brownsville, and Del Rio are now patrolled 24 hours a day by Marines in full tactical gear. Within the first week, joint teams interdicted multiple vessels loaded with methamphetamine, fentanyl, and weapons components headed north. Every seizure, officials say, represents a direct financial strike against the cartel's operating capital. They built their empire on predictable routes, one ICE commander said. We've taken those routes away. But the scope of Operation Shield Frontier extends far beyond the border. In the Caribbean Command Zone, a separate naval armada, under Joint Task Force South, is intercepting cartel boats before they reach U.S. waters. Navy and Marine detachments have established maritime corridors stretching from Puerto Rico to the Dominican Republic and along Venezuela's northern coast. These zones are now heavily monitored choke points designed to cut off the Caribbean drug pipeline that has historically fed the eastern United States. Since the task force was activated, interceptions have surged. Marines have boarded dozens of vessels tied to Tren de Aragua and Sinaloa affiliates attempting to smuggle narcotics and weapons northward. All captured suspects are being processed.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause that for a minute. One of the things I want you guys to keep in mind, this is exactly the people that the Democrats are protecting. The human trafficking, drug trafficking that's going on around the country. Again, how can anybody possibly support what we're witnessing on a daily basis? You know, I've repeated it over and over and over. The amount of fentanyl that comes through our borders daily is enough to kill every last man, woman, and child here in America. I've been down on these borders. I've reported on them for years now. And, you know, this is just some of the crap that you guys get to witness. A lot of the stuff that we've actually witnessed, we never even reported. It was way too graphic, and they would have shut our channels down for reporting it. Again, you know, we've been down on the border. We've come across dead babies right in the border road where the cartel left them like trash, or young children. I've got lots of people on Border Patrol that are friends. A guy that I call Big R, who works down in the Tucson sector. I won't mention his first name, but at the same time, you know, I mean, what these guys have to see on a daily basis, what they have to deal with daily, is, you know, I could tell you how disturbing it's been for me over the years. Trying to go home, trying to relax, trying to just live life normal after being on the border. Trust me, it's no fun. I want to get back to the video for you guys for a minute.
Under federal anti-terrorism statutes, giving prosecutors the power to impose maximum penalties for armed trafficking. Command reports describe the coordination between land, air, and sea units as the most advanced joint operation ever executed against cartel forces. Federal leadership says the mission will not stop until every smuggling corridor, coastal staging hub, and financial lifeline connecting these criminal groups to the United States is destroyed. As one Marine field officer summarized it, this is not a patrol. This is a campaign. From above, the new war on cartel networks looks like precision. For the first time in U.S. counter-narcotics history, F-35 aircraft and unmanned aerial squadrons from Puerto Rico and Corpus Christi are flying joint surveillance missions along the southern border and deep into the Caribbean corridor. Using real-time reconnaissance feeds, every suspicious movement, whether a truck convoy in the desert or a fast boat leaving a cartel port, is now visible to multiple command centers simultaneously. At 30,000 feet, radar systems track heat signatures of vehicles, maritime vessels, and even
All right, and I want to get back to this right here that you're watching. I don't know if you guys remember, a couple months back, I was at the Trump International in Las Vegas, and there were some meetings that occurred. I can tell you right now, what the American people think is happening on our borders and what is really happening is two different things. I can tell you right now, our military personnel and special teams are taking care of business as it needs to be taken care of. And at this point, I'm not going to say much more than that, but I can tell you one thing, your news channels hide it. And correction, that's not ABC 7 News. That's another article I wanted to share with you guys, which I'm going to share here real quick. Just give me a second to finish this for you guys.
identified, coordinates are instantly transmitted to ground or naval units within seconds. In recent weeks, the system has allowed agents to lock and intercept cartel shipments within minutes of detection. The results have been decisive. Thousands of pounds of narcotics seized, dozens of vessels impounded, and key cartel couriers captured before they crossed into the United States. Homeland Security commanders described the new coordination as the most efficient interdiction cycle ever achieved in U.S. operations. The cartels have felt the impact immediately. Intercepted communications between mid-level commanders show confusion and panic spreading through their ranks. Financial analysts inside Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, report that traffickers are losing millions each week as ground convoys are stopped and maritime routes collapse. Multiple cartel factions, particularly CJNG and Sinaloa, have attempted to reroute their shipments through Central America, but U.S. intelligence assets have already mapped those detours. Drone patrols now extend hundreds of miles south of the border, forcing smugglers to abandon vehicles, stash houses, and temporary airstrips once considered safe. Several mid-level commanders have fled deeper into Mexico, hiding in mountainous regions to avoid drone detection. For the first time in decades, field agents describe cartel logistics as financially collapsing. When traffickers can no longer guarantee deliveries, investors and suppliers turn elsewhere, cutting the flow of money that sustains the violence. Federal analysts believe that if these conditions hold for 90 days, the cartel's cash cycle could shrink by nearly 40%, an economic blow equivalent to losing a war. But the crackdown has not come without
Okay, so that's what we're seeing a lot right there. I mean, you look at the reality, this is what's going on in Chicago, these people, these protesters. I think what's not being said is I believe a lot of this is being funded by the cartel. A lot of these riots are as well. We see a lot of even illegals protesting against our ICE agents in these cities around the country. And, that's what makes me believe that these guys are being funded by the cartel. I know everybody keeps saying George Soros and everybody else, but, I think it gets a lot deeper than that. And for all we know, maybe George Soros has his hands in the cartel's pockets. But either way, it's just this is just a lot of what we're having to live with each and every day that we're seeing around the country, and it's just going to continue. And until they figure out a way to put a stop to what's happening in these Democrat-controlled cities, these so-called safe places for them to be. I personally think Donald Trump needs to just go ahead and take in and completely take control of these cities, these Democrat-ran cities that are supporting this, that are all about these illegals and that have invaded our country. And I'll say it like it is. They invaded us. When you come through holes in the wall and you don't come through the port of entry, I don't care who in the hell you are, that's an invasion. And, not only should your ass be deported, these people that control these cities should be held accountable, charged for crimes themselves for protecting these illegals, and dealt with. They need to be locked up. These governors like Gavin Newsom of California, you take a look at that SOB. That man needs to be locked up. The key needs to be thrown away on him. And, same thing in Chicago. If these governors can't control their cities, if they can't keep the people safe, and they're going to allow this kind of stuff to continue to happen, then by God, they need to go charge them as well. Hold them for crimes. I mean, again, you look at the amount of people dying each and every day in these cities around America from the fentanyl overdoses, human trafficking, murders. The list just goes on and on and on. And why are they not being held accountable? That's my question. It's almost like they're above the law. Nobody's above the law. And if the Trump administration or anybody with them ever listens to this broadcast, do what you got to do to take these cities down and get America safe again for those people that live in there. I'm going to get back to the video here for you guys.
Directed at senior U.S. border security officials and field commanders. Cartel sources have offered bounties ranging from $25,000 to $50,000 for the targeting of ICE, DEA, and Homeland Security agents. Federal counterintelligence teams have verified credible chatter on encrypted communication platforms, indicating plots to track U.S. personnel and their families. In response, Homeland Security has activated enhanced protective protocols across all sectors, including rotating agent assignments, restricting public travel, and deploying federal tactical support for at-risk officers. They want to scare us into backing down, one senior agent said, but it's having the opposite effect. Despite the threats, operations continue uninterrupted. Officials confirm that the number of joint task forces along the border has now reached 1,000 active teams, conducting daily missions across interior states to identify smuggling cells and logistics hubs. Each day, dozens of traffickers are detained and transported to secure federal facilities for prosecution and deportation. The message from Washington is clear: the United States will not yield to intimidation. The mission to dismantle the cartels will proceed at full strength, regardless of threats, politics, or geography. As one DHS spokesperson put it, if they want to fight like an army, we'll treat them like one, and we'll finish it.
Today, the Justice Department is announcing significant enforcement actions against the largest, most violent, and most prolific fentanyl trafficking operation in the world.
The results of Operation Shield Frontier are already reshaping the border landscape. In just a few weeks, federal task forces from DEA, ICE, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Marines have arrested more than 1,000 suspects tied directly to cartel logistics and smuggling activity. These are not low-level runners or street dealers. Officials say many of those detained are coordinators, recruiters, transporters, and armed couriers managing shipments across multiple states. Captured offenders are being processed through a newly expanded network of federal detention facilities, including the Louisiana Lockup, a maximum security compound integrated within the state's correctional system. The site currently holds more than 400 high-risk detainees, including repeat border violators, cartel financiers, and violent offenders charged under federal narcotics and anti-terrorism statutes. Federal authorities describe the facility as a return to consequence-based enforcement. There are no revolving doors, no lenient release policies. Detainees are booked, prosecuted, and deported without delay. ICE officials confirm that hundreds of additional suspects are being held in temporary command centers in Texas and Arizona, awaiting transfer to long-term detention. Each case, they said, represents another link severed from the transnational chain feeding narcotics, weapons, and human trafficking into the United States. The operational impact has been immediate and measurable. Since the campaign's launch, illegal border crossings have dropped to historic lows, with just 4,600 apprehensions in July, down.
So you guys, the No Kings event. I interviewed several people at the No Kings event, and listening to these protesters sitting there talking about how this is all Donald Trump creating this problem, that everybody in this country is peaceful and nobody's trying to create harm to anybody. I don't know what rock fell out of the sky and hit them on top of the freaking head, but I'll tell you what. Any of you guys listening to my broadcast ever want to take a trip down to the border, you give me a call directly. 928-716-3189. I'll take you guys down to the border. I'll educate you real fast on how peaceful our southern borders are. And trust me, I'm not going to take you to the Yuma sector. I'm going to take you right into the Tucson sector out of Sasebo, Arizona. That is the #1 hotspot in the United States, where we have had the cartel and heavily armed men come right through that border many, many times. You guys watch my reporting on the Jim Chilton Ranch. He's out of that region as well. And Jim and Sue Chilton. And, you know, my surveillance cameras caught thousands and thousands of cartel guys going right through the Chilton Ranch. And you know what? That's not fake news. That's as real as it gets. I had surveillance cameras planted all over his property that we captured, hundreds of hours that I gave over to Jim Jordan when I met with him over in Sierra Vista. I gave him hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage of the cartel. And to this day, you know, I couldn't even begin to tell you what's been done. So anyways, I'm going to get back to this reporting here for you.
Patrols have seized dozens of vessels along the Gulf Coast and Caribbean approaches, intercepting tons of methamphetamine, fentanyl, and cocaine before reaching U.S. shores. Joint ICE Homeland Security teams are conducting daily interior operations across more than 25 states, targeting stash houses, drug corridors, and financial hubs connected to cartel activity. Officials report that in just 3 weeks, the combined operations have dismantled at least 120 active smuggling routes and disrupted dozens of cartel money transfer pipelines. Analysts say the cartel's financial collapse is accelerating as these seizures cut off their ability to pay transporters, bribe officials, and purchase weapons. "You can't wage war without money," a DEA spokesperson said. And right now, their cash flow is evaporating faster than we've ever seen. Local police agencies across border states also confirm that violent crime linked to cartel cells has dropped sharply, with arrests of armed scouts and gang affiliates declining by nearly 50% since the operation began. In Washington, the tone of the mission has shifted from enforcement to endurance. Homeland Security leaders describe Operation Shield Frontier as the beginning of a sustained national offensive, not a temporary surge. The campaign's long-term
So whether you guys know it or not, right now we are officially at war with the cartel. America is actually at war with Mexico. And again, I don't hear our news streams talking about it. The news media, even Fox News, isn't really saying that we're at war. But I guarantee you, we are definitely at war against the cartel. And again, like the video just said, you know, they have hurt the cartel tremendously. They've hit their money flow, their human trafficking routes, drug trafficking routes. They've shut them down. But they're finding other ways to still come through. And again, these so-called protesters at the No Kings rally that want to act like, you know, we are all a bunch of commies because we love and care about this country and we're sick and tired of the crap. You know, if any of you are watching my broadcast tonight, get off your asses, give me a call. I'll personally take you down to the border. I'll even fund the damn trip. I don't give a shit. I'll take you down to the border. And we'll see what your exact thoughts are when you're done with that tour with me. So.
groups not as criminal gangs, but as foreign hybrid threats, blending the tactics of insurgents and terrorists. By designating them under expanded anti-terror statutes, prosecutors can pursue maximum sentencing and asset forfeiture across international borders. Senior officials say this new framework allows the United States to target not only traffickers, but also financiers, accountants, and logistics contractors who enable their networks. "We're dismantling an economy, not just an army," one Homeland Security commander said. The message from federal leadership is uncompromising. Any organization that targets American citizens, agents, or territory will face immediate retaliation, on land, at sea, or in the air. Intelligence analysts believe the success of Operation Shield Frontier could serve as the model for future campaigns across Latin America, striking at the infrastructure that keeps the drug trade alive. For now, the numbers speak louder than words. 1,000 arrests, hundreds of seizures, and a collapsing network once considered untouchable. In the words of the DEA's field commander, we are not waiting for the threat to reach our doorstep.
All right, guys, I'd like to share this other article with you guys tonight real quick, and let's see if I can get it over to it for you. But anyways, like I said, anybody that thinks our borders are secure, they're still not 100% secure. You get down in the Tucson sector, you get up by the tribal land right there, that wall's still wide open. The tribal land has made it clear that they do not want Donald Trump's wall in place. And that's where they're still coming through. And quite frankly, we've got to find a way to get the tribal lands to agree to shutting that border down. Any of you people with the tribal land out there watching my report tonight, go to your tribal council and start placing demands that they act on this. We've got to stop the human trafficking and the drug trafficking. And it's not just affecting American citizens. It's affecting the tribal land people as well, which are American citizens as well, excuse me. But it's affecting all of us, and this is where it's got to come to a stop. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't share this other one with you. All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right. All right, I'm going to have to show that to you guys here a little bit in a little while. Sorry about that. I've got several things going on here in my studio. I do need to run a Cube broadcast commercial for these guys real quick. If you guys don't know what Cube broadcast is, for $59.95 a month, you get all your HBO, Showtime, Cinemax. I mean, you get it all. Pay-per-view. If you guys like your NFL packages, you get NFL to NFL package as well. Has all your local channels, your local news, national news. You get it all for one low price of $59.95. They're running that promotion right now to where if you subscribe now before November 3rd, you're going to be locked into for life at that price. After November 3rd, it's going to raise up to $69.95 a month. And I'll go ahead and play one of their broadcasts for you guys. I believe that's going to be this one here. Okay, and this is one that they're promoting. See if I can slow that down for you guys. Sorry about that. Anyhow, I use Cube broadcast myself, and I happen to love it. I've been with them now for 3 years. And so if you guys are interested in Cube broadcast, there's the Cube broadcast right up here in the right-hand corner. I put their thing up. They don't do a subscription. So you can pay month to month. You don't have to lock into any kind of contract at all. and it's $59.95 a month if you lock it in now to where you sign up. $59.95 a month, and you get all the paid programming that you can possibly imagine. If you take a look at what you guys are paying out there, for you guys that don't want to have cable and satellite because of the $150 a month bills that people are getting, Cube Broadcast is a great way to go. Because I mean, if you look at the reality behind it, you know, you pay $10 for this app, you know, 10 for that app, or whatever you're doing. By the time you get done, you might as well pay for Cube Broadcast and had the whole shebang, including all your HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, Encore. I mean, you name it, you get it all for $59.95 a month without being locked into some contract. So that's just a great program that they're offering. And if you guys are interested in signing up, again, you can scan the Cube Broadcast code right there that I have up there in the right hand corner of the screen, and just check it out, guys. So, and if you don't like it after 30 days, you can just say the heck with it and just cancel it all. And one of the beauties about the Cube Broadcast as well, like I travel a lot. I'm down on the borders. I go all over the country. So when I know I'm going to be out of town, I will phone up the Cube Broadcast, tell them, hey, you know what? Put my account on hold right now, and I'll let you know when I get back in town, and we'll restart it. And the beauty of being able to do that is, you know, if you're going to go away on a vacation or whatever, you know you're gone for 2 weeks. You don't need your Cube Broadcast for 2 weeks. You're not paying for a dead horse. You know, it's something that's just sitting back at home. So you can, and then when you get back home, just place the phone call and say, hey, turn it back on, and it's back on for you. Just make sure you pay your bill. That's all you got to do. Anyways, I want to get back to a little more of my reporting for you guys that I was wanting to share tonight. And actually, I think I got a Cube Broadcast commercial I can share with you guys as well. Give me 1 second. I'm going to end this other one. See if I can play this for you guys. I believe there's a play button on this one, or it's going to be on the other one. Cancel out of that. Replay your screen.
Hey there! Tired of watching your subscription costs climb higher and higher? With Cube Broadcast, you get more for less. All your favorite channels and content.
Okay, I'm going to try that again. For whatever reasons, I didn't want to share the screen with you guys. And okay, I think that's the one for you guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. Evidently, I'm using the wrong damn commercial. My apologies. It's been a long day. Go in here. Get out of that one. Got two Too darn many of these. Okay, that might be the one.
Welcome to the new and improved Q broadcast platform. The Q app has been completely reimagined with a refined user interface.
All right, guys. Anyway, sorry about that. I give up on trying to share it tonight. Sorry, it's been a real long day. But anyways, let's get over to the live story that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I think this is going to be the one here. Okay. Okay, I think I got it for you guys. So give me a second here. Sorry about that. Okay, I think I got it, guys. My apologies.
Tonight, tear gas deployed after another clash in Chicago during President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration.
The tunnel extends under the U.S.-Mexico border to the Boone Street storm drain in El Paso. It measures approximately 4 feet wide and 6 feet high.
At exactly 22:14 hours on September 28, 2025, the streets of Ciudad Juarez, just 9 miles south of the U.S. border, exploded with automatic gunfire. Witnesses described a short burst of precision fire, then silence. When police arrived, 2 off-duty officers lay dead beside a gray pickup truck, their bodies slumped over shattered glass. Standing near them was a third man, identified moments later as Ulises Trujillo, known on both sides of the border by his call sign, Delta One. Investigators didn't need long to see what this was. Every casing was grouped in controlled 3-round bursts. No wildfire, no spray patterns. It was an execution, not a shootout. Intelligence units later confirmed the attackers were tied to La Empresa, a breakaway arm of the Juarez cartel now controlling key migrant routes and drug corridors that feed directly into El Paso, Texas. For years, Delta One had run logistics for them: tunnels, stash houses, safe corridors. But that night, he'd become expendable. Stay until the end, because what the U.S. military is preparing right now could redefine how America fights cartels forever. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because these operations reveal just how close this hidden war has come to U.S. soil. By midnight, Juarez police recovered surveillance footage. 2 vehicles approaching, headlights off, windows down, gunmen masked and gloved. The entire strike lasted 11 seconds. No shouting, no chase. Within 30 seconds, both cars were gone. What made it chilling wasn't the brutality, it was the discipline. The next morning, a tactical sweep uncovered a warehouse barely 3 miles from the scene. Inside were 38 assault rifles, steel ammunition boxes, ballistic vests, and 3 migrants shackled in a corner, dehydrated but alive. Their captors had fled minutes before the raid. The walls were lined with maps of crossing routes, each marked with coded letters corresponding to U.S. sector patrol shifts. Whoever ran this place wasn't hiding. They were studying the border. For U.S. Joint Task Force North, headquartered in El Paso, that discovery triggered an immediate elevation to Condition Orange. Drone reconnaissance flights were doubled. Ground sensors near the Rio Grande were recalibrated for movement larger than human scale. Something was building, and nobody knew how far it would go. 2 days later, Reports from Tamaulipas confirmed 5 state officers ambushed on patrol vehicles burned, radios destroyed. In Chiapas, a migrant caravan was intercepted. 12 people vanished without a trace. Every new strike seemed coordinated, designed to stretch Mexican security thin across hundreds of miles. But analysts noticed a disturbing thread. Each attack.
All right, guys. So we'll go back to what we keep talking about, the No Kings event. You know, they keep claiming that all this is peaceful going on in our country. Does that look peaceful to you? You know, we have lost law enforcement officers. We have got so much death going on in this country, and I guarantee you 90% of this is not even being shared with American people. You know, I'm going to keep doing my best to get this out there to all of you guys as it comes into me. Plus my reporting when I'm down on the border, I'm going to get out to you guys as well. My apologies with the studio here tonight. I've just got so much new equipment and so much to learn. And right now I'm just learning how to get things shared to the studio over to all the networks that I'm broadcasting to. And I do appreciate you guys' patience and understanding through this. But we're going to continue to get this news out there one way or another to you guys, because the American people do deserve to know the truth and what the hell's going on in our country. And sadly, even Fox News hides a lot of it from you guys. And that's supposed to be one of the best networks out there. And I don't give none of them credit for diddly squat, because they're only sharing with the American people what they want the American people to know, because there's so much they're not telling you guys. I'm going to get back to my broadcast on this for you guys so you guys can see it.
Carried digital fingerprints traced to encrypted channels that mentioned one phrase, Retaliación Norteamericana, American retaliation. It suggested the cartels were already preparing for the response they expected from Washington. And that could mean only one thing. They were planning to escalate first. By September 30th, intercepted chatter confirmed a cross-border component. Messages between La Empresa cells referenced testing La Reacción del Norte, the northern reaction. Border Patrol intelligence briefings warned of possible probing operations, small teams, armed, crossing, and retreating to measure U.S. response time. That night, just before dawn, motion sensors south of El Paso Sector 19 detected multiple infrared signatures entering the Rio Grande. 6 figures, low profile, moving in perfect formation. Within minutes, the nearest Border Patrol unit was rerouted, supported by Texas DPS drones. But when agents reached the coordinates, the group had vanished. Only wet boot prints and 2 discarded suppressors remained. To the north, command centers replayed thermal footage frame by frame. The bodies were human, but their movements were military. Whoever crossed that night wasn't trafficking people. They were reconnaissance. And as dawn rose over the desert, analysts realized something even more alarming. The men had crossed not into empty scrubland, but toward a cluster of old storage depots less than half a mile from a U.S. military communications relay. At 4-6 hours, satellite imagery from U.S. Northern Command confirmed movement around the abandoned depots south of El Paso Sector 19. 6 infrared signatures appeared, vanished, then reappeared deeper inside the compound. Methodical, trained, and equipped with suppressed weapons. Analysts realized this wasn't random infiltration. It was reconnaissance on a military node that carried encrypted communications between border sector outposts. Within minutes, Border Patrol's tactical unit Echo 7 was mobilized. 2 armored vehicles, night vision drones overhead. They breached the perimeter at 4:29. What they found was chilling spent shell casings, thermal residue, and a single metal plate etched with the insignia of La Empresa. The message was deliberate. We can reach you. Inside the Pentagon, alarms shifted from intelligence watch to operational posture. A classified bulletin flash alert. A 19 circulated across Joint Task Force North. The directive was clear. Prepare defensive readiness for cartel paramilitary incursions. For the first time in 20 years, an internal report described the cartels not as criminals, but as irregular combatants with cross-border capability. By 8 hours, senior defense officials convened under Operation Sentinel Dusk. The scenario was unprecedented. Drone imagery from the night raid confirmed that the infiltrators had retreated back into Mexico using flood-drained tunnels once surveyed by the DEA. Engineers mapped the tunnel 4 feet wide, 6 feet high, shored with timber and ventilation ducts. It led straight to the industrial outskirts of Ciudad Juarez, the same network previously connected to Delta One. A surge of encrypted radio traffic followed the breach. Dozens of shortwave transmissions spiked between Juarez, Tamaulipas, and Sinaloa within a 6-hour window. Cartel command relays coordinating something larger. Linguists identified phrases like Phase Dos, Phase 2, and Carga Lista Load Red.
So one of the things I want to talk about with you guys that we're going to go ahead and start doing, I'm going to go ahead and start giving people border tours down to the border, down to the Tucson sector. People that want to come, I'm going to have a donation that I want of at least $100 for my time. Want it in a donation because I drive a good 6.5 hours down to that sector alone. And I'll give you guys a tour right into the heart of the crisis. So if you guys decide you'd like to make a tour down to the border, reach out to me at livebordernews@gmail.com, or you can reach out, call me at 928-716-3189. Only thing I ask is once you go on a tour with me down to the border, take that information that you get and share it with the American people and let them see the truth of what's really going on. Again, the Tucson sector, in my book, is the worst in the country. And again, don't get me wrong, these areas are bad as well. But until you go to the Tucson sector, you wouldn't even begin to understand. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to this video for you guys.
Analysts feared a new offensive timed to overwhelm both Mexican and U.S. forces simultaneously. Then, a separate anomaly surfaced. Signals intelligence picked up UHF bursts originating from inside U.S. territory just north of the Rio Grande. Someone was mirroring cartel frequencies from the American side, possibly a handler or tech cell. The breach wasn't physical anymore, it was electronic. By afternoon, Joint Task Force North raised alert levels again. Cyber Command established Task Vector Delta, integrating NSA and DEA assets to track cartel communication nodes. What they uncovered shocked even veteran analysts. Several encrypted wallets moving digital currency equivalent to $24 million through crypto exchanges in less than 12 hours. Funds routed to purchase high-end thermal optics and drone parts. The cartels weren't just arming, they were modernizing. Meanwhile, in Mexico City, defense officials announced Operación Guerrero Negro Operation Black Warrior. It authorized federal forces to raid every suspected cartel armory along the northern corridor. 45 firearms seized, 10 arrests. On paper, it was progress. On the ground, whispers told another story. Cartel lookouts had already relocated to the Sierra Madre foothills, dragging kidnapped migrants with them as human shields. Just after dusk, a U.S. reconnaissance drone patrolling the Rio Grande captured heat flares south of Anapra. Multiple detonations followed. Mexican soldiers reported ambush fire from rooftops, grenades, tracer rounds, disciplined volleys. The assault lasted 6 minutes, then vanished into silence. Minutes later, the same drone filmed trucks leaving the area, the same models seen in Delta One's network. Inside Northern Command's war room, analysts synchronized feeds from satellites, drones, and border sensors. The pattern was unmistakable. Cartel teams were moving in platoon-level formations, coordinated by encrypted radios, not street gangs, combat units. By 21 hours, U.S. forces across Texas were placed on elevated readiness. Special operations detachments rotated closer to the border under standby orders, recon.
So I want to make myself real clear to any of you Democrats out there, protesters. You guys think what you're doing is right for America? You think the American people's lives don't matter? Do you not give a shit about your own children, your grandchildren, your wife, your husband? I mean, where in the hell is your minds at? I mean, who in the fuck brainwashed you guys? I think, excuse my language tonight. I'm frustrated. You know, who's gotten to you guys? Cartel get to you guys? Is it all about money for you? That you don't give a shit about the American people that are dying each and every day? These guys, Border Patrol, ICE agents, law enforcement that are putting their lives on the line each and every day. Do you guys just not give a shit about anybody? Do you not give a shit about the thousands and thousands of people dying from fentanyl that these thugs traffic into through our borders? That's killing our children, our grandchildren. Well, when do you guys start giving a damn? when does enough become enough for you guys? Because, you know, your so-called No Kings event and the crap you guys do, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you can take your little events and shove them up your ass. And yeah, I'm saying that on my news channel. But that's just where I stand right now on this matter. I'm sick and tired of the crap. And you know what? Again, you guys want to take a trip down to the border and see what the hell is really happening? Sign up and I'll take you with me.
Only, engagement restricted unless fired upon. For now, but as commanders reviewed infrared footage one last time, something appeared in the corner of the screen. A convoy of 3 armored pickups and 1 cargo truck, moving north under heavy escort. The cargo's metallic density didn't match narcotics. It matched weapons-grade steel. At exactly 2017 hours, U.S. reconnaissance satellites locked onto the convoy, first seen crossing Chihuahua's northern corridor. 3 armored pickups and a reinforced cargo truck, each fitted with improvised plating and escort vehicles moving in formation. Thermal scans showed the cargo's core temperature below ambient, suggesting insulated storage. Analysts compared density readings. It wasn't food or narcotics. It was weapons-grade steel, possibly components for heavy ordnance or armored fabrication. Joint Task Force North relayed the feed to Northern Command Operations Center, where military and intelligence officers began tracking its progress toward the Texas border. A top-level priority flag, Falcon Veil Protocol, was authorized. The mission objective: identify, isolate, and intercept before the cargo reached U.S. territory. For the next 43 minutes, satellites followed every turn. The convoy's escort trucks alternated lead positions, using civilian traffic as cover. At 21:02 hours, radar-equipped drones from Base Del Rio deployed to maintain constant visual. But midway through the pursuit, one drone lost Lockett's feed, distorted by jamming interference originating inside Mexico. The cartels were now using electronic countermeasures, technology previously seen only in state-sponsored warfare. Inside the Pentagon, operations officers stared at the live feed as static rippled across the monitors. A single phrase circulated through encrypted chat: "They have EW capability." If confirmed, it meant the cartels had crossed a threshold from criminal enterprise to irregular army. At 21:19 hours, a burst of muzzle flashes appeared on thermal imaging. Mexican federal troops had engaged the convoy near Ojinaga. The fight lasted less than 7 minutes. When the smoke cleared, one federal vehicle burned at the roadside. The convoy was gone, veering west toward unguarded terrain that paralleled the Rio Grande. Aerial sensors tracked it briefly before it disappeared under a highway overpass. When the vehicles re-emerged, 2 were missing, either destroyed or hidden underground. That anomaly triggered contingency call Raven Strike 1, a USMC-12 Liberty aircraft lifted from Laughlin Air Force Base, providing multispectral imagery. Within seconds, operators identified the lost trucks parked inside an abandoned factory complex barely 40 miles from the border. Heat signatures indicated dozens of armed personnel surrounding the structure. Watch rotations, sentries, and vehicle patrols. This wasn't a smuggling rest stop. It was a staging ground. Debate ignited inside Washington's Situation Room. Could the U.S. legally intervene if Mexican authorities failed to act? Under newly issued defense guidance, any foreign paramilitary group posing imminent threat could be classified as a hostile actor under wartime law. That definition had just been met. By 22:40 hours, Operation Sentinel Dusk entered its final alert phase. Special Operations Command deployed 2 reconnaissance teams to forward positions near El Paso and Eagle Pass observation only. Engagement prohibited unless hostile fire occurred. In parallel, NSA intercept units confirmed encrypted radio bursts between Juarez and Monterrey, referencing a shipment of revenge. It was now clear the convoy's cargo wasn't for sale, it was for retaliation. At 23:18 hours, satellite photos captured flash activity inside the factory spark arcs, cutting torches, movement around large metallic frames. Engineers on call realized what they were seeing. Improvised armored fighting vehicles built from the steel cargo, designed to breach roadblocks and survive light arms fire. If those vehicles crossed north, local law enforcement wouldn't stand a chance. Northern Command initiated a readiness clock 10 minutes to authorization, awaiting final clearance for aerial interdiction. The room fell silent except for the pulse of synchronized timers. Each minute ticked closer to potential combat orders on continental soil. 9 minutes, 8, 7. Commanders monitored heartbeat telemetry from field teams positioned along the border fence, their thermal scopes fixed on the distant glow of welding sparks. At 23:26 hours, one of those teams reported sound detection, diesel engines revving. The factory doors opened. 2 armored trucks rolled out, headlights dark, moving toward the riverbed crossing known as Point Sierra Bravo. The U.S. air interdiction window had less than 3 minutes left. As commanders prepared to authorize the strike, new satellite data flashed across the main screen 3 unidentified aerial objects entering Mexican airspace from the west, armed with guided munitions and not part of any U.S. registry. Someone else had already taken the first shot. At exactly 23:29 hours, satellite operators at Northern Command confirmed what everyone feared: 3 unidentified UAVs had breached Mexican airspace from the Pacific Corridor.
All right, guys, I don't know how safe all this looks to you guys, but I can tell you right now, our borders are not safe, like I keep telling you. I mean, I don't know where people get off trying to tell the American people that, oh, the problem is Donald Trump, all this violence and crap happening is all a figment of Donald Trump's imagination. Again, unless your boots on the ground, or unless you're with me and my team out there on the ground, don't sit there and blow smoke up my ass and act like our country is in complete devastation because of Donald Trump. We're in complete devastation because we allowed a foreign enemy to invade our soil under the Biden administration. And I'm talking millions of them. And we allowed it. Donald Trump got handed down a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, he thought his first term was bad that he had. It had nothing on what he's dealing with now. I mean, the amount of illegals that poured through, the cartel that came through, the Sinaloa cartel. If you guys don't know much about the Sinaloa cartel, these guys are as evil gets. And trust me, they'll even rape your wife and make you watch if they get a hold of you. So, I mean, these people have no mercy on American people. So, again, for any of you Democrat thugs out there that want to sit there and try to convince me that our problem here in America, and that's why you guys are doing your no kings bullshit, you take your no kings bullshit, like I said, and shove it up your ass. I know what's happened to our country. I know what's happening to our country as I speak. And you guys act like everything's hunky-dory. So, anyways, I'll get back to the video. Tonight, I also would like to recognize, I'm going to post this up here so you guys can see it. It's Loaded Gun Coffee. There it is. So, every sale from Loaded Gun Coffee that you guys make a purchase, Loaded Gun Coffee donates to Live Border News, Your News Arizona. They're helping us out by every sale that they make, that they're donating a small portion over to Your News Arizona to help fund everything that I do. If you guys think I'm making a bunch of money off of this reporting and different stuff I'm doing, you're so wrong. I've done all this on my dime. All the studio equipment I just bought, that's on my dime. I did this so I can get the news out to America. And as I learn this and get it down, it's going to get better and better as we go. But I'm just learning all this stuff. I'm not your average news reporter by all means. I've been just learning this stuff, and I've got a long way to go yet, but I'm getting there. So again, that's my friend's business, Stephen Thomas and his wife, Loaded Gun Coffee. They're out of Lake Havasu, Arizona. If you guys scan the QR code there, decide to order, he's got the best coffee out there. That's actually what I'm drinking here in my mug. But right back to you, I'll grab a couple of his coffees and show them to you. It's pretty neat. This family is all made up of veterans. We got quite the history for their family. So I'm going to show this to you. That's his family right there. If you guys can read that. Every one of his family was military. Been in all kinds of different wars, clean back to the Civil War. Anyhow, that's one of my favorite coffees. I'll get out there to you guys anyways. Really good copy. And here's another one of them. He's got tons of copies there. You guys can scan the QR code. It'll take you in. You can shop his store online. And I think you're going to love his copy if you guys order it. I sure as hell do myself. I'm going to get back to the broadcast for you guys. Just wanted to show that to you. And if you're watching Stephen Thomas, appreciate you, all the hospitality with the copy that you send over to us, and appreciate you helping out Your News Arizona. Thank you, sir. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hide that for now so we're not covering the screen. And we'll get back to the video here. So,
moving at 120 knots. Each carried a hardpoint payload and laser designators. Within seconds, 2 of the drones released ordnance on the factory compound where the armored convoy had been assembling. The first detonation registered as a thermobaric blast, flattening the west hangar. The second strike ignited stored fuel, creating a chain reaction that consumed the entire site in under a minute. Thermal sensors captured silhouettes fleeing into the desert armed personnel, many carrying wounded. Command logs marked the attack as unattributed, but internal chatter across encrypted channels painted a clearer picture. The strike had been authorized jointly by Mexican Defense Command, with U.S. coordination assistance. Officially, Washington said nothing. Unofficially, Operation Black Warrior had just crossed into its most aggressive phase yet. As flames illuminated the night sky south of the Rio Grande, 2 U.S. reconnaissance drones repositioned to monitor the aftermath. Among the wreckage, analysts identified remnants of heavy plating and vehicle chassis identical to those recorded hours earlier. At least 4 armored units had been destroyed before deployment. Satellite intercepts confirmed radio silence across La Empresa's command net. For the first time in months, Juarez was quiet, but the quiet didn't last. Within 12 hours, retaliatory attacks erupted across Tamaulipas and Sinaloa police ambushed, migrants kidnapped, highways barricaded. It was the cartel's standard doctrine: absorb a strike, scatter, and counterattack through chaos. Mexico's president ordered a full national security lockdown. The U.S. Department of Defense extended surveillance coverage to 60 nautical miles beyond the border, effectively placing much of northern Mexico under continuous observation. For both nations, the line between law enforcement and warfare had finally blurred. By 6 hours, satellite footage revealed scorched craters where the factory once stood, surrounded by personnel in desert fatigues, no insignia, no national flags. When questioned, both governments denied the operation entirely. The official story described it as a cartel explosion caused by unsafe munitions. But within classified cables circulated between embassies, the truth was clear. A joint retaliatory strike had occurred. It was the first cross-border engagement of its kind in modern U.S.-Mexican history. Inside the Pentagon, analysts coined a new term: gray zone engagement, a conflict without declaration, fought in shadows between nations officially allied but privately coordinating fire missions. Publicly, Washington continued to speak of cooperation. Privately, targeting dossiers expanded across multiple agencies: DEA, CIA, and Southern Command mapping cartel networks like insurgent armies. By evening,
So I don't mean to keep interrupting. I guess my question is, why in the hell is Fox News and even Newsmax and any of these guys sharing this kind of stuff out there? I think the American people deserve to know what the hell's going on. If you guys have any connection with Fox News, jump their asses for their crap. The American people aren't seeing half of this crap, besides these protests of wannabes out there acting like we're all just a bunch of KKK pieces of shit. I've had a real bad day, guys, so forgive my language tonight. But at the same time, I'm just frustrated with all the crap. I've been out in the field a lot. That's why you don't see me a lot on here. But it's just, again, unless you guys are down there witnessing what we're witnessing, you guys have no clue of what's really going on. So I'm going to keep trying to broadcast stuff to you guys, bringing live footage that I record down on the border as well. Could start trying to get this out there to all you guys of what's really going on. We keep hearing this, how, our border roads are secure. Still at this point, I'm not seeing the military personnel on the border road itself. But again, they're behind the cameras. I know they are. and then when they're needed, they're dispatched. So I've got some ears out there and eyes that are sharing some things with me, and I'm going to leave it at that. But rest assured, we do have our military that is capable of interacting at any given second. So, all right, I'm going to get back to broadcast here.
Senior defense officials summarized the situation in one sentence. The border is no longer a boundary. It's a battle space. Reports confirmed ongoing surveillance of additional industrial compounds believed to be refitting similar vehicles. Cyber Command intercepted financial transfers from cryptocurrency wallets linked to cartel shell companies totaling $37 million. The funding patterns mirrored those of non-state militias operating in the Middle East. The parallel wasn't lost on anyone. At 20 hours, a final communique from U.S. Northern Command marked the end of the day's events. Objective neutralized. Retaliation pending. The words retaliation pending became the new code phrase circulating through encrypted military networks, a silent acknowledgement that the next phase of the war on cartels would no longer be covert. It would be kinetic. The war on drugs has ended, but the battlefield it created still burns, stretching from the deserts of Juarez to the corridors of Washington, where the next order won't be a warning. It'll be an authorization. If this operation report gripped you till the end, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dive missions into U.S. military.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end this broadcast tonight. If you guys aren't interested in ordering Load a Gun copy, if you'd like to make a donation towards Live Border News, Your News Arizona, up in the right-hand corner right there is a QR link. And you guys can scan that, make a small donation if you'd like to. Price of a cup of coffee, get that times 100 people. That'll help with at least a couple gas tanks for all the fuel we spend out in the field. So if you guys would anything at this point, we appreciate. And God bless all you guys. Thanks for joining into Your News Arizona tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and end this with playing a little more footage for you guys. And we'll just go ahead and end the broadcast after that. So God bless you guys. And I got to get back over to my screen for you too. Sorry.
Intelligence, and defense operations. Stay alert because the next confrontation may already be in motion.
Yeah.
Ready for this, huh? Get on the ground. Ready.
All right, guys. Mostly appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. And I know I've shared a lot of advertisements with you as well. This is Q Broadcast, $59.99 a month. If you sign up between now and November 3rd, you'll be locked into the $59.99 per month for life. And if you decide, it's a great program that they're offering. That you'll get all your television needs that you could possibly imagine. And I'll share that with you one more time. Here's the Q Broadcast. There we go. Share. And trust me when I tell you, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than satellite or cable. And you get way more than you could possibly even imagine. Puts cable and satellite to shame. Not to mention you get all your pay-per-views, HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Starz, Encore. I mean, you name it, plus all your local news channels. You get it all for that low price each and every month. And you're not locked into some ridiculous contract, so which is a big plus. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And let's see if I can find their link for you one more time. If you guys decide you want to check out Q Broadcasts, scan that code I just posted up in the right-hand corner. You scan it, try it for 1 month. If you hate it, well, then, just cancel it. And again, they don't have a termination fee or anything else or contract. So it's just the best TV in my opinion, out there. And like I said, I've been using it now for 3 years. Closer, maybe going on 4. Either way. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. God bless all you patriots out there tonight, and keep our country in your thoughts and prayers. We definitely need that. Keep our Border Patrol and everybody in your thoughts and prayers. Our law enforcement, and keep the news reporters out there on the ground that's trying to bring a lot of this protest into you guys, these streamers. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers as well. There's been so many of them that's been being assaulted. So it's just gotten to be ridiculous. So, and we're going to be covering more news coverage all this year. I believe tomorrow's Friday. We're going to have a little more news coverage tomorrow. I plan on taking the weekend down, and just got to finish getting the studio set up and getting everything figured out and learned. So until then, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. God bless you guys. Good night.